Oh yes, legends, we are live. What a major pump the price of Bitcoin has had in the last 24 hours. Now, the question is, can we extend to much higher levels after this massive move of $8,000 in the last 24 hours? Or is it time to range, get a pullback, then continuation to the upside, or get a larger corrective move? We're going to be discussing the technical analysis, Fibonacci confluence levels, and also liquidity pockets. And let's dive in right away into the comment section. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. Let's go. We are live from Holland. We do have right over here in the comment section, let's short the market. Well, there is a very interesting shorting scenario. I'm going to talk about it in this live stream very, very locally that has been mentioned in the Legends trading community. Also a long trading setup. I had to jump into some long setups throughout yesterday. I'm going to explain exactly where I got into a long position as well yesterday, as the momentum was being very explosive. Of course, I was interested in looking at some resistance levels and, really analyzing how the price was going to break out from this area right over here. Okay, so I was analyzing very carefully the price action to see how are we going to break out from this zone, and we absolutely exploded. The price was just pumping thousands of dollars in a matter of a few hours, but I was interested in the price to get some kind of a reaction at the $90,000, $91,000 range, and we just crossed through those levels very easily, right? Not being interested in a short position, but this was the zone that I was interested to look for a short position. We had some confluence right there. There was a weekly naked point of control. When we do zoom out, there was a potential cipher pattern, okay, a harmonic pattern. And there was, nice resistance in between 90K and 91K. However, the price action just crossed through that level and we did not react to the zone. So not interested in shorting, of course, a big major pump to the upside. And we were just grinding very aggressively, right? As you can see in the last 24 hours, I had to jump into a long position. I was interested in shorts, but jumped into a long position, and I will explain exactly the long position, why I entered, and how it's a good strategy as well to look for this kind of setup. Okay. Now, of course, I want to go through higher time frame, right? Is this extremely bullish? Well, we are coming to the base, right? The base of that range that we did form throughout 2024 and, part of 2025, right? January and February. We are really at the base right over here. As you can see, we're trying to get above the value area high of this trading zone. We're really trying to get above the value area low, and basically those lows eventually is going to provide some kind of resistance, right? You got all of these lows where we have been bouncing throughout 2024 and part of 2025. We got the rejection right over here, and now we are up in this zone. And yeah, without a doubt, we have moved very fast, right, in the last 24 hours to this area. So is it realistic, right, that we do actually just, continue pumping in the next 1 to 2 days, right? Or are we going to get a little bit of a range and possibly a larger pullback, right? Regardless if it's going to be corrective or is it going to be impulsive to the downside, right? Or is it only up from here, bull market, and all-time high we go in a matter of a couple of weeks, right? Is that possible with the current projection that we have right over here? Well, it would be unlikely that we do continue to all-time high, right, in a matter of a couple of weeks, right, with hardly any pullbacks. But is this just a FOMO recovery right now that we're having? We can see the fear and greed index is already getting to the greed territory, right? Just a few days ago, about 5-6 days ago, let me just double check here. We were talking about the possibility of a reaccumulation, right? A Wyckoff accumulation schematic where we have the picture right over here, right? Is it possible that we are following this accumulation? This was just a few days ago, taking into consideration the higher time frame perspective, right? When we're looking at the higher time frame price action and analyzing, this is usually a moment where you would really see the market bottoming out and finding a reversal, right? And we had a few ideas here based on a wedgie structure, based on a Wyckoff accumulation. Is it possible that we actually start recovering in the next coming weeks, not in the next coming days, right? We just exploded out here throughout the last 1 to 2 days very, very aggressively. And as you can see, you know, we're kind of following a little bit of an accumulation schematic. So it would make sense for the price to get a pullback and start consolidating. But this was the overall idea. The price action is really kind of chopping here at the lows, you know, and could we see that massive reversal? Is it a bull trap or is it massive continuation to the upside? And that's what I want to know from you guys. Okay, let's go right away through the comment section. But I want to ask, solid breakout. Is this a solid breakout, guys? Yes or no? Bull trap, guys. Let me know right away in the poll, because I want to know your opinion, right? It's very important, because a couple of weeks ago, I do ask the community, are you feeling bullish? Are you feeling bearish? I remember most were feeling very bearish. Most were feeling very bearish, right? Stock market crash, a lot of uncertainty, and other people, you know, mainly most of them bearish, right? There was 20-30% that were saying, you know, the lows are almost in, you know, we were looking for a reversal. Let me know, guys, on the votes, because it's very interesting to see the votes of the community here, right? Do you think that this is a solid breakout? Yes or no? It's a bull trap. Wow, we got a 50-50 still, almost 100 votes here getting in. Holy moly, no, bull trap. 52%, actually, the bull trap vote is getting a little bit of more love, right? It's always, you know, last few days have been a 50-50 here on the polls. Is this a solid breakout, right? Meaning that eventually we are changing the trend, right? And we should be heading to all-time high in the next coming months, if not weeks. Or is it a bull trap, guys, right? No all-time highs. We will be reversing. It's all a bunch of hype. Exit liquidity strategy. And I want to know those votes now in the next 10 minutes. I'll be coming back to the votes. Let me go quickly through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community. And we'll analyze a little bit of this structure, right? This structure right over here. What do we have? Major rally. Usually these rallies should come to an end at some point, right? And we are going to try and detect, you know, do we still have some more upside momentum? What are the levels of support to take into consideration to jump maybe into another long position, at least to the local highs? Or do we have, you know, a shorting opportunity depending on how we break down, right? Or in this range, right? Does this range give us a potential shorting opportunity, which I want to get into in the next coming minutes, okay? Which is, that's what we want to see. We want to see the price stopping, right? And forming a little bit of a range where we can analyze very carefully the local price action, okay? Which is where it gives us the trading opportunities. When the price is volatile, I might have a couple of levels, right? There was a weekly naked point of control here that I wanted to see some kind of reaction. There was no reaction. We are not looking for quick trades, right? We're not looking for a quick V-shaped recovery. We're not looking for a quick fast rejection, right? We are looking for the price to stop, start forming a range, and analyze the internal waves, right? And there is a really nice little section of an, you know, education that I want to provide to you today, explaining the level that I got jumped into a long position, right? This was basically yesterday, just at the $91,000 levels, just for a scalp long to the highs of a few $1,000s. I'll explain that in just a few seconds now. But first of all, let's go through the comment section and then we'll analyze, okay, a little bit of the market here, okay? Looking at, you know, all of these levels being broken and analyzing the projections, the wave. Is it realistic for the price to actually continue to the upside, or are we topping out for a pullback, right? Either a pullback in a corrective move, find some support, and then continuation to the upside, or are we going to be moving down pretty aggressive, right? Where, you know, this is the kind of pullback situation where lots of people are going to be interested in this to be bullish, right? There could be the bullish scenario. We're going to talk about the most important levels for the bullish case, right? The bullish case, the levels that need to hold for the price to continue this massive uptrend momentum, right? Once we get that solid pullback. And if those levels are broken, you know, this is kind of a zone where lots of people would be interested in longing, right? Resistance support flip. This is just a pullback and we are going to go to higher levels. And it could be also, the moment where, actually lots of people getting into long positions and then the price moves down. Of course, without a doubt, we have broken a bit of structure. We've had a major move up, but we need to analyze the overall picture. The picture from this movement up. How have we moved up from the lows to the highs? And also taking into consideration, we really need to take into consideration right now all of this movement down, right? We were talking about all of this scenario, all of this downtrend highly likely being more corrective, right? Throughout the last few weeks, right? When we were trading in this area, even claiming the lows again, still realizing that all of this looks corrective, right? It doesn't look like a leading push to the downside. And of course, that's when we come up to, with the idea, could we be in an accumulation schematic, right? We're just accumulating. The recovery is very much expected to happen in the coming weeks, claiming the lows or not, right? So we'll be discussing a little bit of the higher time frame, okay, as well. Very important right now. But what is important is focusing on the local structure. This is the pump that I'm interested in right now. And we're going to be analyzing it very, very carefully, right? Very, very carefully, and looking at the little consolidation that we are forming right now, right? Is it looking like the price is getting exhausted? It's found a stop. It's interesting where we at right now, because the other day I had an idea of a cipher pattern where we had the weekly naked point of control, but we blasted through that level, right? If you skyrocket with the price action, you're not interested. You want to see a little bit of a reaction and a little bit of a range. But right now we do have that lower high right over here that was from the 21st of February. This level is looking very, very interesting. This pivot high right over here to the pivot low. And now what we do have is the 7/8 Fibonacci. That is where we are stopping. This is the moment where it looks interesting. There is a shorting scenario that I mentioned on the Legends trading community, which we will be focusing on the lower time frames. If the price stops, it looks very interesting. Now, this, of course, does look more symmetrical for that cipher pattern. We got this lower high pivot, this low right over here, the bounce to the 50% Fibonacci, then this low, and now the 7/8. The 7/8 from this pivot, a little bit more symmetrical here for that cipher pattern. And we do have the 7/8 Fibonacci. 7/8 Fibonacci for that cipher. So the price is stopping. And now, as we are stopping, it is looking interesting to take shorts into consideration because the price has stopped. I'll go right away through these scenarios, right? But anybody that's not aware of a harmonic cipher pattern, this is the one, right? Where 7/8 does get a reaction. And this is where we are getting the reaction. Now, the question is, can we claim the local highs again, right? Can we attempt to claim the local highs? We'll be focusing on lower time frames, guys. Not to worry, okay? But higher time frames need to be looked at, okay? But now we are stopping, and the thing of stopping in this range for many hours is where it starts to be interesting, right? We've got the big major move up, and now the price is taking a cool off, regardless if we claim the highs or not, right? Now is the moment to analyze. Okay, we are stopping. Let's consider the possible trading, short trading plans, right? Let's go right away through the comment section, and we'll be focusing on lower time frames, guys. I think most of the people are interested in lower time frames, so we are going to go through lower time frames. Let me know in the comment section, guys, higher time frame or lower time frame, right? Focus on what's happened in the last 24 to 48 hours to really look for, the internal trading opportunities. I want to give that educational content on why I jumped into a long position as well yesterday, based on a really, really good, it's an easy setup to detect. And the risk management is very, very good, of course, especially when you're uptrending. Let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. We got Holland in the house. My man, much love to you, Rob. Take that caravan and carry on. Let's go. Lucifer, Messema, let's LFG, let's go. Let's short. There, it could be interesting to short, but we need to manage risk. We need a few things, right? I'm going to be explaining a little bit why there could be an interesting short where we could be very close, okay? We're going to talk about that right away. Zach, how are you doing, my man? 95K next, right? Which is the next leg to the upside, breaking the local highs. Dump to 90K, says Rob. There is a lot of liquidity, okay? Round about 90K, below $90,000. There's still lots of liquidity above 94.5, the current local highs. So yeah, there is still liquidity to the upside, right? Short squeeze to continue. Or are we ready for a pullback? We'll be analyzing that on the lower time frame legends. 90K sell, 90K sell. I have actually considered with this pump to sell a little bit more of my Bitcoin, because with this drop that we had here, I didn't buy any more Bitcoin, but I didn't sell any of my spot Bitcoin. And I was, I thought I sold at 100K and I sold at 90K. And here I was like, I should have sold a little bit more, right? A lot of uncertainty. And now it's kind of that moment that you feel the euphoria, right? What if Bitcoin is next, right? Gold got a major rally in the last, couple of months, huge rally, getting to $3,400 an ounce, which is crazy. What if some of that money is, transitioning into gold, right? Then you get all of this speculation of, this is the moment, right? This is kind of the hype feeling that you get. And I am considering selling a little bit of my spot Bitcoin, just a couple of Bitcoin potentially, just to be a little bit more liquid. But it's like, Bitcoin is like, I'm holding Bitcoin forever, right? I only sold 10% of my Bitcoin throughout this range, right? In between 90K and 100K. And now it's like, yeah, should I sell a bit more, right? Be a little bit more liquid, or is it bullish, guys? Are we following that accumulation schematic? We're probably just going to get a pullback and it's time to head to all-time high in the next coming weeks, right? Yeah, I'm happy to hold that Bitcoin regardless. I'm happy to hold that Bitcoin. Anyway, let's go right away through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community, and we want to focus on the local time frame as well, okay? Want to focus on the local time frame and check out the poll as well, right? What's going on the poll, to see if, the people are bullish or bearish. Is this a bull trap, or is it very bullish, solid breakout, right? Is this a solid breakout? Yes, 60%. So we're feeling the bullishness, right? People are actually, pretty damn bullish with this move. I mean, how can you not be bullish with such a gigantic move after this downtrend formation? We'll be talking about several technical scenarios on the higher time frame, okay, legends? Let's go right away. Say hello to the beautiful community. It's going to be a quick hello, guys. Lots here are here to look at the local time frame on Bitcoin. How about the BTC move like gold, pump? Yes, this is the thing, right? Is BTC next? As Bitcoin, as gold got the major rally. When you do see the gold chart on the higher time frame, you can see how, it's getting the pullback, right? What if some of that liquidity, right? Some of that money of gold is getting into Bitcoin right now. What is very interesting about gold when we do zoom in here is the cup and handle, right? Cup and handle formation and big continuation, massive continuation throughout 2024 and part of 2025. When you do zoom out on the price of Bitcoin, you also have that cup and handle on the higher time frame. There is also that cup and handle. Let's go to the weekly time frame, or at least the 3-day chart here, and really see that cup and handle formation. This is something that we were discussing on one of the previous videos, looking for a reversal. Are we following the price action that we formed here in 2021 right there, right? And it does, that kind of that consolidation is really similar price action, right? You do realize where the price could be bottoming out, at least locally, right? Now the question is, do we continue up to all-time high, or do we form a lower high, right? That is the overall main question. But very, very similar price action from 2021. Nice consolidation. Now the question is, how high, right? Could it be a, lower high formation, which I do believe, this is the kind of classic trap zone, right? There will be some kind of pullback in the next coming days that will be very trappy, right? Maybe a bear trap where you form that lower high, right? This movement down was bear market for most, right? Back in the day. I'm not sure if you were here in 2021. Then you get that major rally. And this is what we're getting right now from that consolidation that we had in the last, couple of months, this downtrend formation, right? Throughout, February, March, part of April, and then this breakout. Then, of course, you have major upside momentum. At some point, very likely before all-time high, it's going to top out and it's going to start pulling back pretty aggressively, right? You understand that, a pullback, especially with a local price action, is very likely. The thing is, this, without a doubt, for many was a bear trap, right? This has broken the structure, relief rally. We expect this kind of movement, and the price formed a higher low and headed up to all-time high again. So we had a major bullish bounce back then in 2021, right? Could that be the case where this is going to form a pullback in the next coming days, right? We're going to be chopping, still grinding to the upside, and then get that pullback, and then we head up to all-time highs, right? Possibly in between May and June. As they say, sell in May, right? And run away. Well, maybe May is actually going to be bullish. So anyway, let's go right away through that higher time frame cup and handle scenario right over here, right? Is it true that we are getting lots of liquidity from gold, right? Possibly, right? Maybe a lot of the gold liquidity, right, is flipping into Bitcoin, because we realize that we have the cup and handle and that we should be heading to much higher levels. We actually came to retest that neckline of the cup and handle, guys. You cannot make this up, to perfection right there, right? Just a textbook cup and handle bullish pattern, and we're heading up to all-time highs, right, in the next coming months, coming weeks, right? Even not months, coming weeks. So that cup and handle right there with it, the breakout and even the retest, which is very interesting to see. Gold heading up there. Gold, massive rally, right? However, Bitcoin did come down to revisit the neckline. Are we extremely bullish? Do we see that happening? Or is it a bull trap, guys? I can see many bull traps in the comment section, which is very interesting to see. Lots of bull traps on the poll here. On the poll. So anyway, we're going to go. Even Ethereum is pumping. Yes, I managed to buy 3 Ethereum. 3 Ethereum, because every Monday it was buying 1 Ethereum. And, next Monday I'll still buy Ethereum if we are below $2,000, right? But, that spot Ethereum is slightly in a profit, right? Nothing too serious. But yeah, my goodness, even Ethereum is pumping. The overall idea here is to buy 1 Ethereum every Monday as long as we're below $2,000, right? We're heading to 1,800 today. So as long as we're below 2K, we'll still continue to buy 1 Ethereum every Monday. Okay, but yeah, if we now with this rally, we'll be buying a little bit more expensive if we still continue up. But overall, the average Ethereum has been bought in between 1,500 and 1,600 the last few weeks. So overall, just a long-term investment, right? Let's go right away through comment section. But yeah, hello to everybody. Still waiting for $72,000. Faz, my man, yes. Right? That's the thing, right? Bearish momentum. Are we going to continue? Are we continuing this downtrend? There were many people talking about 50,000 even, right? $50,000 Bitcoin, $60,000 Bitcoin, right? Even coming to much lower levels. On the higher time frame, we knew that a successful breakdown on the higher time frame here to go to 60.50 was unlikely. It was unlikely scenario that from this kind of price action, you are going to dump down another $15,000. Highly unlikely scenario, as all of this movement to the downside looks extremely corrective, right? Higher time frame perspective, looking for that possible reversal situation, either in accumulation, forming similar price action to 2021, extremely similar, guys. When you do take a look at the bars pattern from 2021, right? and you take that structure right over here, it's literally the same thing, right? Massive choppiness throughout end of 2024, right? Topping out and getting the major move down in February, and then chopping out here throughout February, March, and part of April, right? You got the choppiness. This is a classic reversal area. Regardless if you take out the low again or not, right? The reversal was very much expected on the higher time frame. Anybody that hasn't checked out that video, that did pretty okay. People were interested. 2025, reversal soon, taking into consideration the higher time frame. Of course, when we go to the lower time frame, then I was not expecting such a significant rally like this, right? Significant pump breakout. Let's analyze the situation. Considering is the low in, right? Many of the scenarios of this to be corrective, right? A few scenarios on the higher time frame were looking pretty damn good for this to be the end, right? Either a WXY here, double zigzag scenario, very, very corrective kind of price action. You also had this possibility where you had 5 waves to the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in an expanding move. Your B wave here, right? Complex WXY sideways corrective move. And then you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And you formed your A, B, C. And now this, major rally, your first major impulse to the upside, right? And this is just an ABC. So higher time frame was looking many different scenarios to end this structure. either this one, right? There was many different ones. So let's analyze the local time frame, guys. This is why most are here. Most do like the lower time frame to analyze the situation. That's what we're going to do right away, legends. Okay, so bear with me here. We'll be analyzing very carefully the local time frame. Okay, let's zoom in on the 1 hourly and really look at this explosive momentum. Very disturbing, shallow corrective move. Okay, disturbing, shallow corrective move, which took out the highs and rallied here massively. The amount of short liquidations, I mean, swing traders here were not happy. Swing traders were not happy because, if you are looking to short or add to shorts, or I don't know what is the swing trading strategy here, when, on the higher time frame, you are looking for this to be, an accumulation possibly, without a doubt, no zone to be interested in swing short positions, right? And adding to short positions. So yeah, this very, very explosive breakout. And now what I want to analyze with you here together, okay, is this local price action to the upside, right? Very rare that this would just continue up, right, to 96, 100,000 in the next coming days without getting a pullback, right? How explosive can this wave be, right? It needs to cool off at some stage to then get another explosive move up or actually start correcting down. We do understand that this movement to the upside, and there's a bullish case scenario that's very interesting. I did see it from 𝗕𝗏𝗽𝗏, mentioning this possibly being a 5-wave move to the upside, and then we get the aggressive pullback. It might be looking very bearish, and then we move up, sweep up the lows from this area, and that would be an aggressive move. People will be in doubt if we do get all the way down here, right? It would be a pretty aggressive pullback. But it's something that I want to talk about as well. Looks, relatively interesting, right? What if you count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Still your 5th wave not being longer than this wave, which would be your 3rd wave. We'll talk about that later on. But what I'm interested in is the local move to the upside, because without a doubt, I know that this has been one wave. This has been the range. This has been the correction. This has been the area where, the price has corrected, right? We need to map this as one wave. And this is a new fresh wave to the upside, right? You've got that new fresh wave to the upside right now. And, how explosive has this been? This has been extremely explosive. So, this should be coming to its end stages. Or do we have a correction and another leg to the upside, right? Forming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this what Are we looking at this? Well, that's something that I want to discuss right away. Okay, so this is what becomes relevant at the moment, right? When we have a high in and we start ranging, the relevant high is this one and the relevant low is this one to analyze this sideways momentum. Now what is relevant after finishing this structure, because this area could have been a triangle right over here, a little bit of a running triangle is an option, okay? A, B, C, D, and E, and you break out, or a WXY, you had a flat right over here, a complex zigzag structure, and another zigzag right there finishing your Y. Regardless of what it was, it's a sideways corrective move, and your wave to the upside starts from this area, right? So now it's where we go into the meat and potatoes, right? Now is where we focus on the uptrend. Because yesterday I was looking at the price when we were in this range, right? We had a bullish case scenario from this consolidation that was actually breaking above and heading to $90,000, right? Even above $90,000. However, what we wanted the price yesterday in the Legends community is to form a large range here to see the possible, topping out kind of price action, right? We want to see something like this for that pullback, right? We need to analyze the local time frame. This did not happen. We exploded out. As we got that explosion, we need to map this scenario as your